And then the last thing I'll discuss is what I'm calling the law of circumvention. You know, to circumvent something means to not deal with it, just to circumvent it, to go around it. So the reason I think this is an important topic is a lot of times when we're speaking to people that have different beliefs about Christianity or about God, but specifically Christianity in this case, a lot of it has to do with how do we understand the Bible? Because it goes back to, okay, well, we have the Bible, this is God's word. How do we know that we understand it correctly? And maybe I'm arguing with a friend. And you know, by the way, when we speak about any of this, we're not bashing other people or other religions or other denominations. I myself have a lot of friends that are Catholic and Protestant and other religions. So we're not bashing people. We're simply talking about ideas. What are the differences? Why we believe this idea is wrong, this belief is wrong, or this belief is correct. So again, keep that in mind, that we're doing this in a loving way, and we're simply dealing on the level of ideas, not people. But if I'm speaking to a friend who believes something differently, and I think this chapter or this passage, for example, a very famous one, John chapter 6, we believe that when Christ says, this is my body, this is my flesh, this is my blood, that he's speaking literally, and he means it. He says, verily, verily, I say unto you, unless you partake of this, you will have no life in you. And so someone can read it and say, well, he's speaking figuratively. And so another person can read it and say, well, he's speaking literally. Instead of having this entire argument of whose interpretation, my word versus your word, what we can do is circumvent this entire argument and simply go back to the first century and say, how did the early Christians believe this? Forget my interpretation versus your interpretation here in the 21st century. How did the early Christians believe this? And for the Eucharist example, we can see that every person in every country, every city, every language, every century, for the first 16 centuries, all believed that it was truly the body and blood of Christ. So how likely is it that I'm right, and then the first 16 centuries of the church in every location, language, were all wrong? So you see how it can just show me, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so confident in my interpretation that's only 200-300 years old. So this is what I'm calling the law of the circumvention, is to check my beliefs against the early church, because it's very unlikely that they were all corrupted. Their beliefs were all so corrupted so early on in every locale, every language. It's very unlikely, right? Actually, this is the argument that when people will say that you can't trust the New Testament, it's not reliable. And the way we do it is, the way we can show them it's reliable is we can show that we have so many different manuscripts, copies of the original from the 3rd century, 4th century, 2nd century, and in so many different locations, so many different countries, so many different areas, different styles of writing. And if they all say this exact verse the same way, there's no way someone could have gone back and changed it and corrupted it and changed every single manuscript in the whole world. It's not feasible, right? So this is one way in New Testament criticism that we can show that it hasn't been corrupted. Same thing with beliefs. If everyone believed this exact teaching in every century, every country, every city, every language, then it's very unlikely that I'm correct here in the 21st century and the whole early church is wrong. Does that make sense? This is what I'm calling the law of circumvention, to just ignore the argument and just circumvent it.